week of bright sunshine, everybody's come out to play, and now they've shrunk back a little bit, a bit drooped, and at the risk of sounding like Alan Bennett's tin of tuna, life's a bit like that, isn't it? All bright and optimistic, cheerful one day, and a bit down in the dumps the next. But this is the human condition, isn't it? We create our own weather in our head each morning. It's like we have our own weather systems, which we whip up, maybe overnight. Maybe that's one of the purposes of sleep. Is in the sort of control room of the psychological weather, they have their focus group meetings and decide what sort of weather it's going to be in the life of Shanks or your life, and you wake up with it. So we each have our own special practices, don't we? How to get into the day, or how to get out of our heads, frankly. So I've just come for a little morning run. I haven't done it for a few days because I'm, as we say in Sheffield, nesh, which means a sissy. And if it's cold, I don't go for a run. I'm so dedicated. Other people do yoga, sun salutations, with or without a sun. I used to do that pretty much daily on Lanzarote, but then my girlfriend was a yoga teacher, so I did have ulterior motives for doing that. Other people just stay in their trough of despond with a second cup of tea, and we've all done that. Ian Dury and the Blockheads. I think Ian Dury was one of the finest English pop poets, and he had a song called Reasons to Be Cheerful. I think 1, 2, 3. And this is a morning. Discipline sounds hard work. It's not really. It's paying attention to reasons to be cheerful, not in a sort of vague, solipsistic, vacuous way, but in a genuine, grateful way. Not waking up dead is a good reason to be cheerful in these troubled times. Reasons to be cheerful. 1, 2, 3. This is what some people refer to as an attitude of gratitude. We are like beacons. We're like GPS or 4G. I'm not going to say 5G. I haven't worked that out yet. Attitude of gratitude. You see, we are transmitters. And we relay our cheerfulness or misery one to another. We are social conductors of cheerfulness or miserableness. When you go into a room and you meet somebody for the first time, or an old friend, we're so highly attuned to each other, aren't we? You can tell pretty much, if you're empathetic like what I am, you can tell pretty much instantly whether somebody's in a positive mood or not so positive mood. Even in a room of people, you scan in an instant who's out and who's in their shells. There is an online test. There's an online test for everything these days, isn't there? You've probably done the personality test. I vacillate. I don't know what you come out as. There's a short one with just 4 questions, but do the one with 16 questions. It's more fun, actually. And you end up with 4 letters, a bit like Gattaca, a bit like the 4 letters of the genetic code. There's a personality code, and you end up with 4 letters, and my 4 letters vacillate between INFP and ENFP. Sometimes I'm extroverted, sometimes I'm introverted, and you can find out your own personality code on there. You can do the online sociopath test to see if how you come out on the spectrum of nice to a sociopath. If I remember rightly, I think I scored quite highly on that as well. I think out of 20 I scored something like 16. It's a bit worrying. But the one I like to think of myself as being highly scored on is the empath test, how empathetic you are. And out of 24 revealing questions, I scored 23 out of 24. Pretty damn pleased with that one, I have to say. So we are projectors of our moods, and it's catching. So it's not just a selfish thing to positively develop and culture an attitude of gratitude. It's almost a courtesy to other people. In our entitlement culture now, there's this sort of idea also, isn't there, that we're entitled to be miserable. It's just the way I am, and you shouldn't want to change me. Yes, quite right. Is it a skill? A positive mental attitude, PMA? Like anything else, it does develop with exercise, with practice, with discipline. My teacher, of whom I am the apprentice, it's one of his main lines of encouragement. His main line of encouragement at the end of a 3-day retreat with people from all over the world. His parting message of encouragement is, plod on, plod on. Oh dear. But there is a place, I think, for all of us in having the discipline to positively adopt a positive attitude. That sounds so lame in a way, doesn't it? It sounds so American. John Ruskin, he of the Stones of Venice fame, and he was a radical reformer in the 19th century. He wanted factory owners to provide better working conditions for the workers in the mills. In fact, which way shall I do this? We are very close to one of the earliest mills in the Industrial Revolution. That to the right of that White House across the river there, that's the house of James Arkwright, the son of Arkwright, the senior. There's a blue plaque, circular plaque on the side of the wall. Ruskin wanted to improve the day-to-day quality of life of the working man and woman. Morning. And one of the things that he did was he set up the Walkley Institute in Sheffield, actually, and used to offer drawing classes to the working class, not to make them great artists, but to encourage them and teach them to see simply what is in front of them, to see the beauty of nature. There's a fabulous willow tree come out in all its greenness just here, or the I was driving across the moors yesterday. I'm not supposed to say that. To a secret rendezvous, And on this windy road, a big bird of prey, beautiful, wide wingspan, brown and black feathered. It was bigger than a kestrel. I don't really know my birds of prey. I have seen a flock of eagles in Kashmir, a flock circling in the air. A bit worrying really, but eyeing me up. But must have been 20 or 30 eagles in the thermals above the lake in Kashmir. But Ruskin, his passion was that if you see more clearly, then your vision becomes more clear, and not only do you see the beauty in nature, but you see the beauty in the human heart. So he would offer drawing classes to all comers, and one of his sayings is that the greatest thing the greatest thing a soul can do is to see something and say what he sees clearly. And I'm reminded of a verse in the Bible, I think it was Jesus, don't know which book, doesn't matter, which goes something like this: if the eye is the lamp of the soul, I'm sort of busking this, the eye is the lamp of the soul. If you're blind, if the eye is dark, how dark is the darkness inside? So the way we see, which is not simply a receptive process, seeing is both a projecting and a reflective process. We see the world not as it is, we see the world as we are. So if you are practicing an attitude of gratitude, then you notice small things that are beautiful. And there are so many things to be grateful for. Here, the river I find particularly calming. It is called the River Wye. I don't know why. Austin Ambassador, Wye Reg, Wye Reg, Wye Reg, Austin Ambassador, Wye Reg. It just happens to be that year. John Shuttleworth. I might put a link to that. Everybody should have an attitude of gratitude, according to John Shuttleworth. How to treat yourself in a kind world, according to John Shuttleworth. Go caravanning in Clwyd or Difford. Order a pizza and have it delivered. The River Wye, first I thought it was the sort of tributary, or the headwaters of the River Wye in Herefordshire, which is about 200 miles away. No, this River Wye is only about 17 miles long, I think. It goes into the Derwent. But when I was a lad, we used to go on holiday with my dad's school to the camping in the River Wye near Simmons Yacht. Absolutely beautiful. And I think that's where I learned to love a river. Canoeing on the River Wye, fishing on the River Wye. I caught a 5-pound chub. Oh yes, beginner's luck. I thought I'd got weeds tangled in my hook, but no, it was a 5-pound chub. Felt very proud of myself. There's another reason to be cheerful. We shall have sunshine in a bit. So that's where I first learned my enjoyment and gratitude for moving water. We are receptors of the waves that we transmit to the world, a bit like bats find their sound echolocation. Now there's a good album from Glenn Gregory from Sheffield, who was the singer with Heaven 17. Check that out. There is a lovely song from my early evangelical happy clappy days, which we used to play in the band in church, in St Thomas's Church in Crooks, and it's called I'm Forever Grateful, and often to be heard singing in the Shanks shower, which is a great pick-me-up chorus, a nice song. I'll leave a link to that as well, to a nice YouTube version. I'm forever grateful. And you don't even have to feel it at first. This is, I think, this is the trick. It's like you just have to rehearse it. By rehearsing it, I mean practicing it. A bit like an ice dancer has to rehearse a triple salto lots and lots of times before they get it right. Or any artist or musician just practices and practices their skill until it becomes second nature. So it's a simple discipline of life to practice an attitude of gratitude. Recharge your batteries. One of the things that I can always feel gratitude for is the simple miracle of being here. If you draw a line on a blank piece of paper with a tiny gap in it, and then continue on the other side, if this represents the age of our cosmos, our wonderful, amazing, awesome cosmos, apparently we're into about 13.7 billion years at this stage, and who knows how many billion years afterwards. Well, that little gap in the timeline, which is where we are, in this vastness of cosmological history, it always strikes me as extraordinary that we happen to be alive in this moment to reflect on it. And I've discovered another good reason to be thankful. My fellowship group, when I was at the evangelical church years ago, we used to meet on Wednesday evenings. It was called a fellowship group, and it was Bible study and coffee afterwards. But one session we went round the group to encourage one another, saying to each other what we thought our gifts were: the gift of hospitality, the gift of loving kindness, or the gift of knitting, jump, or whatever it was. And the group decided that I had the gift of sleep. So I'm very grateful for the gift of sleep, and I've still got it. I'm reminded of Seasick Steve's first album, which is entitled I started off with nothing and I've still got most of it left. But my gift is sleep, and I have a huge compassion for those for whom sleep comes not easily, or if at all. And I have a number of dear friends for whom that is the issue. Gosh, yes, more than a few. Anyway, when I can't sleep, which does happen occasionally, one thing that I've tried, which seems to work for me, is simply repeating thank you, thank you, thank you. So I suppose it's, instead of counting sheep, I just count my blessings. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You don't even have to specifically think of individual things to be thankful for. It's just the simple act of saying it repeatedly. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Seems to lull the mind into a sense of relief, a sort of a Thanksgiving sag, and in no time at all dropped off to sleep. You might want to try that one and let me know how you get on. Oh, there's a very good recent Muji short video where he teaches us the prayer of thanksgiving, just saying thank you, just being thankful for everything. And I'll leave a link to that in the description below. There are all sorts of other aids, of course, to a good night's sleep, and there are various apps like Calm. I use one which I find very helpful, called Insight Timer, that's what it's called, which has got different types of music, different types of guided meditations, nature sounds, all very helpful. And at the end of a particular meditation or music, whatever it is you've been listening to, it's lovely because say you've been meditating and there's a gong, a timer, and at the end of it you come out of meditation and it shows you on the app how many other people have been meditating at the same time with you around the world, 8,064, whatever it is. And that feels great. You really do feel connected. One of the things that we've been asked to do with the John Butler meditations is, similarly, people want to know that John's in the house, so to speak, or more precisely, John's in the church. It's closed now, of course, because of the restrictions, but we did give it a go, a YouTube live stream of John just sitting in silent meditation, and people found this extremely helpful, except for the fact that I'd got the camera the wrong way up. Teething problems, I'll get it sorted, no problem. Henry Miller has got 3 prescriptions for a happy life. He wrote this when he was 80, and after his very celebrated hedonistic life, I think it's fair to say, he should know a thing or two. Rule number 1 for happiness: curiosity. Stick your nose into everything, follow your nose, see where it leads. Number 2, a sense of wonder at the heavens, at the microscopic, and everything in between. And number 3, don't take life too seriously. That's enough for one day, I think. Attitude of gratitude.